let me go ahead and introduce our wonderful, wonderful casters, TJ and D2.
This kind of felt like a downbeat, Dave. It was high energy, it was Wild Rift, it was Wild Rift, it was Wild CJ and D2.
Now you guys are always exciting, so I have to balance that, a little bit.
No, I see. You're giving us a soft introduction so that we can hit it with the big energy. All right, we'll try.
Yeah, you're watching Sengoku, by the way.
Daniel, it is Victim versus Sengoku. We're sitting on the Sengoku side right now. We do actually recognize some names here, and we'll touch on that in a second. But first, let's talk pick ban. Sengoku got rid of Evelyn and Gragas in the ban phase here. Victim got rid of Lee Sin and Alistair. As we get all the way in, you see the entire picks. Is anything standing out to you?
Sorry, my brain is just like falling apart as I'm like trying to receive all this information. I was just about to say that the bans were, as you like to say, bog standard, except for perhaps maybe banning out something like a Lulu. But yeah, very strong
bog standard since I cast Valor series with you.
Yeah, but you said it so often; it's burned into my mind.
that was always what I said when we got a ban phase, and it was what I expected. I'd be like, bog standard bans. Huge flashbacks. Speaking of Valor series, we recognize some of these players from the Valor series. Would you like to talk through that?
Well, not necessarily Valor series, but the World Championships. We have Hawk, we have Rush. I actually know Slash Moon and Digimon are, I believe, on the Japanese team at the World Championships as well.
I'm going to be real with you. We cast those World Championships. I cast every single World Championship. The Japanese teams never did well.
Yeah, they
didn't.
I mean, because I'm Japanese myself, I tended to remember the names. So yeah, like a little bit of a cross-country mix here. They're teaming up, try to make things happen for themselves.
Hawk was on the first team that won any of the World Championships. I believe they won them twice because they got the first World Cup and the first International Championship. So very, very strong pedigree over on the Sengoku Gaming side. We are starting over on their perspective. We are, of course, limited only to player perspectives for this tournament. There isn't yet a spectator mode, so if we do miss any of the action, we're sorry.
Fun fact, Sengoku means warring nation, so hopefully they don't war with themselves in this fight, as they have people from multiple nations on their side. But, because of the pedigree, I do believe that they should be the favorites here, unless, just everything being equal, right? A known strong team is probably going to be the favorite against a completely unknown, and we don't really know much about their opponents in Victim Gaming here, or Victim Esports, I should say.
They are, I believe, community favorites. I've seen a couple of people in the chat really pumped for them, so even though we are not familiar with them from Arena of Valor, they clearly have made a name for themselves here. Let's talk through the draft. We didn't really get a chance to touch on it, but you do have a very, very strong Misfortune Brawl lane versus Kaisa and Lulu here. Kaisa and Lulu are going to play more for the mid game, the team fights, whereas the Misfortune Brawl are going to be really, really good on their own because the Brawl stun can be so easily triggered by the Misfortune. So you do have a really fun start to lane here.
Yeah, speaking of the team fights, though, as it goes forward, I'm kind of curious about who the preferred target for Wild Growth is for Lulu here, because you like to think it's the Malphite, perhaps it's the Grace, but I just want to see the Kaisa just jump in, pop that old jump in, and then
big Kaisa,
yeah, big girl Kaisa just laying out the damage there. I want to see it.
We do also have the Ari for big damage. So there's a lot of really good burst. Speaking of, Ares will show up. Charm does go wide. And as a result, there will be no follow-up. And as your first exchange, I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to go back to our lanes now.
It's kind of funny because the Victim pushed a little bit too far forward, kind of giving away the fact that there was a gate coming in. And it was completely read by Sengoku. And they were like, something smells fishy. We're going to back off for a moment here.
Yeah, you can always kind of tell when Q started like stepping forward, scrapping for a fight. They were like, "Why is that Kaisa running in our Brawl Misfortune?"
Exactly, with not much health remaining as well. It's like, that seems like a bot, or very suspicious behavior here.
And having read it correctly, this not being their first rodeo, Sengoku
Not at all.
were able to back away. Moon playing it very, very well. On the opposite side, for Sengoku, I want to talk a little bit about their own team fight. They do have their Kennen Misfortune combo with an Orianna, so there's a lot of really good team fight AoE between the Shockwave, the Slicing Maelstrom, and the Bullet Time. So,
not to mention the Shyvana, who can just jump in and engage right at the start to make sure that happens. And they're going to take this dragon, looks like. Ooh.
Starting for it, Drake will go over to Sengoku, and they're going to press even further forward. The Kennen grabs the first kill. Q trying to get through the back of the team fight. Will Killer Instinct past all the action, and I believe is just trying to survive as their team has been destroyed around them. Victim lose the first team fight quite badly. 3 kills going over to Sengoku.
Q seems very lost. He's just kind of walking around in circles like, what do I,
It was like,
what do I do?
This is dangerous. I'm all out. I'm going to stay alive. Now, what do I do? There's not a whole lot.
I mean, I do appreciate that Q was really, quick on the camera there. He was showing us all the action, but unfortunately, Q didn't actually do anything himself.
He was running alongside the fight with the iPhone.
it's like I got it all on tape.
World
like,
star.
Please help us. Oh my goodness.
Unfortunately, it didn't save the fight. It was really well executed play by Sengoku to just be able to grab the Drake and then instantly go in with that cannon ulti, but there was no proper response. We'll swap now to their perspective. This is Sengoku's support, Dejawu.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think Dejuo and Slash Moon are siblings. I might be wrong.
Oh. I do remember you talking about this. Now that you said that, I remember you very delightedly saying to me while we were casting AIC one year, Dejawu and Slash Moon are siblings. So,
yeah, something like
that
it might have been different
out.
members. It might have been different members, but in any case, it could explain why they're so together. More damage. Oh, wow.
Big burst damage in the mid lane. Much of it will have the unstopped onslaught in. Wild growth to follow. Huge front line. That Malphite able to secure a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane. Might change things round, though, as the Brawl Kennen duo goes huge there. A positive trade out for Sengoku. They end the fight 2-for-1, and they're going to have yet more pressure onto this turret.
Did Braum get that kill? Was that a blind Q?
No, the Kennen got the kill, but the Braum Q landed.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. Anyway, they were getting so much damage, but then they kind of turned on this Misfortune, burned her down in like less than a second.
Check out the size of this Malphite.
That Malphite is a big boy. It just immediately went in there, got the wild growth. And
the opening scene of Indiana Jones, where Indiana Jones is running from the giant boulder.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been on the ride of Indiana Jones at Disneyland.
Never seen Indiana Jones?
No, I'm sorry. I've seen many clips of it because they always get referenced.
I thought you were the boomer and I was the zoomer, and okay.
Well, the roles have been reversed apparently.
Unprepared for that.
Anyway, go ahead. No, I know about the boulder. I won the ride.
The moment's lost, Daniel. I've just been disappointed in you. The Drake is coming up. We're going to swap perspectives over to Victim, and we did just have a momentary disconnect, so I apologize if we lost any of the action.
Did we lose any of the anything important?
No, the Drake is still coming up. It's still about 25 seconds away. You can see that there. So I don't think we skipped anything. Victim will be setting up for it. They are down in this early game, but not irreparably so.
Yeah, that said, though, I think one more strong team fight from Sengoku, and this could be lights out. So they really need to either take a really good team fight here or kind of stay away for a little bit longer while they gather some farm.
Here we go. Drake up, zoning for Victim.
They're in vision range. I don't know if this is the best idea here from Victim. They
do have all 5 members here, and they're going to start the fight with a deep dive onto the back line. You can see that Kai'Sa doing decent damage, but now will be caught out around the side. Cannon poke in, over the wall. Shyvana steals the Drake. Huge plays from Sengoku as they clean up this fight. That is disastrous yet again for Victim. A triple kill over to Sengoku's jungler, as this will be a really rough time.
TJ, I think you heard the trepidation in my voice as that started, because you could kind of see that coming. You knew that the members of Sengoku were lurking. You knew that they're going to come in for the steal and the cleanup, and that is exactly what happened. They put too much effort into trying to kill the Drake. They weren't really accounting for the other members. They didn't zone properly, and then they got completely turned around and just cleaned up on the back end of this fight.
Yeah, Rush bringing back some of his Arena of Valor form here.
That's the second time I've seen him use this ultimate and then flash
the
forward.
Same location as well.
Exactly, and then flash forward to finish off the kill. He is bloodthirsty, to say the least.
Normally on Shyvana, you sit on that flash a little bit because it's your only way out, but not Rush.
I mean, you don't need to get out if they're all dead. You know, that's the
That
safest
is
way.
true.
The safest way to keep yourself alive is to make sure that they're all dead.
No need to disengage if there's no one left to disengage from.
Exactly.
Really, really impressive team fights so far from Sengoku as we switch back to their perspective. And most of it has been just from Rush on the Shyvana leading the way. I think that's a big takeaway from our day of games so far. Shyvana, a very powerful jungler if they're enabled by the team.
What is this?
It's a very powerful jungler, not being enabled by their team, just Rush running people down in the jungle for no apparent reason.
She's just chasing them down, just popping her first ability and just like punching them in the face. It's like, I'm just gonna do that now. Okay,
Dragon punch.
Exactly. I mean, the funny thing is, there's not really any sort of wombo combo here on the side of Sengoku. They're just turning their abilities into a wombo combo.
Yeah. Well, they basically everything on Sengoku is a good teamfight ult, right?
Yeah.
They have a ton of good teamfight abilities, and if it's like stew, you just throw it all in the pot, you turn on the heat, and you stir, and you see what comes out the other side. It'll be good.
You know, when I do that, it doesn't really work. But apparently, we have world-class chefs on the side of Sengoku, so it's a bit different for them.
We're gonna see the Baron up as the Sengoku players begin to set up vision of it. This is something I'm already noticing from the Sengoku side. Really good warding just set up across the map, so they always know what is being done by their opponents.
Yeah, and this is what we've seen all the good teams do, just making sure that no one can disrupt them when they're taking objective like this. They are in a bit of a pickle here.
But they disengage. You can see it gets a little bit dangerous. Dejavu playing the support is doing what you do as a support in League of Legends. When your team is grabbing an objective, you zone further forward than your team. You take the brunt of the action so that the rest of your squad can rely on your scouting intel. So Dejavu sees an entire team pushing their way, says, "Hey, it's real sketchy right now," and everyone backs away from the objective.
And that's one of the advantages of having a big, beefy support like Brawl here, because he can act as that living, moving ward rather than having to rely on the wards in your toolkit here.
I am going to put out an alarm to producer Dave here. We are getting some serious Minecraft action on our own feed. It is very difficult to follow what's going on.
We are in Minecraft territory right now.
Oh my lord, it is being censored. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Producer Dave has restarted our stream, and we'll run with it. Worst case, I'll take some wild guesses.
I can read the Japanese font. It's good enough.
Yeah, Drake does go over to Sengoku. And is that Rush stealing away a blue buff as well?
I mean, why not? Why not?
So this is a huge amount of Drakes, 3 of them, I believe, in the pocket of the Shyvana, who is already a terrifying monster. And that is not going to hurt Rush, certainly.
So I mentioned before at the start of the last team fight that if it went well for Sengoku, then the game was basically over. Don't get me wrong, this game is still going, but it's pretty much over. It's just that Sengoku doesn't want to make any game-ending mistakes. They're just in let's not throw territory right now.
And this is something we remember from the Hawk and Rush teams in Arena of Valor. they would always be very cautious, very careful, know how to play to their win conditions, know how to close out games slowly and steadily. So that's good to see. I do think Victim aren't quite as out of it as you frame them. They do have a Kai'Sa, they do have a Malphite. And that can win you any team fight.
Looks like there's a potential Baron. No, looking at our little kind of blurry mini map, looks like no one's on the Baron right now. But that's going to be the sense of the source of contention for a while to come.
We got a team fight starting off here. Our stream does look a little bit like Dave is sending us an explicit video, and so someone has censored it. We are not quite able to make out player names, so I'm gonna be guessing as to characters. We're gonna see what happens.
I'm pretty sure explicit videos are censored in both Korea and Japan, but that's neither here nor there.
Baron will be stolen away. Victim ripping it up. A huge bullet time for the back of the fight turns things back towards Sengoku, though, so they may not be able to enjoy their spoils of victory. They steal the Baron and will not survive with a single player on the map to enjoy it.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Worth. For no other reason than they showed him who's boss. Or at least they showed the Baron.
I can't believe you randomly dropped Korean censorship laws right before a critical team fight, Daniel. That'll be the game, unfortunately. Sengoku able to run the 5-man wipe all the way to the Nexus and pick up a Game 1 victory. It is, of course, a best-of-3 series, so that does not mean that the entire series is over. But it does put Sengoku 1-0 up over Victim.
I gotta say, though, I think outside of maybe our first or second game of the day, or maybe our third game of the day, this was perhaps our most one-sided game so far. So it doesn't bode well here if you're Victim. Yeah,
I mean, if they want to have, if they really have to step it up, because right now Sengoku is just pressing them on every objectives that you see, every single play, every single dragon, they're always ahead their opponent, and that's not good, right? Obviously, as a team, Victim need to figure out their objectives. So maybe be half a step. We always tell you don't have to be a 1 step or 2 step ahead, because it's not going to happen at the highest level of competition. Just half a step ahead. Are you going to defend this dragon? Are you going to camp a bush next to the dragon? But this time we see that when Victim try to contest stuff, the objective is always almost done. You know, it's always taken by the Sengoku already.